and we concluded the meeting and by consensus agreed on the following. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards should ensure that the weighbridges operating within sugarcane growing areas are regularly calibrated and inspected. The meeting should strengthen the current Sugar Regulation Act 2025 to streamline the licensing process of weighbridges. Any gaps within the regulations, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative, we should look at it and strengthen it. It was agreed that since weighbridges are measuring instruments used in the industry to ascertain actual weight of cane to be sold to the millers, that only existing weighbridges should be allowed to continue operating. Honorable colleagues, to fast-track the implementation of the above recommendations, the Ministry has written, this morning we have written to the Attorney General, she might have not received it yet, to help us look at drafting the necessary instrument to effect number 2, resolution number 2, which is to strengthen the regulations. Madam Speaker, this is what we came up with the consultation that we had yesterday about the sugar millers by consensus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister.
So I beg to lay the list of the people who attended the meeting.
Thank you. Honorable Leader of Government Business, do you have anything to say? Honorable Minister, just a minute.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the issue of weighbridges along the roads started in 2023. We have made a lot of consultations. The fact is, some weighbridges have been a problem, but others have not. They have been aiding sugarcane growers to know the exact weight they have before they sell their sugarcane to the factories. However, there are those that have been a problem and have been reported constantly to police. And so, as a leader of government business, I have been engaged backward and forwards to have this solved. Now that Parliament has come in, I wanted to request that since the Attorney General is going to come up with regulations, we consult further. We consult further to have this settled once and for all.
And I think what the minister said, that most of these weighbridges have not been regulated. Now what we need is proper regulation of these weighbridges. Because if we have known the benefit of the weighbridges, then we should have them regulated. Then where you're talking about the resolutions, Uganda National Bureau of Standards should ensure you as a minister has powers under Article 113 to direct UNBS.
Thank you for that correction. In fact, we have directed them to do regular calibration and inspection of these weighbridges and report to the Minister on a monthly basis.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. And thank you, Honourable Minister, for the statement, which is self-explanatory. I just wanted to know whether there are measures that you reached in your resolutions which are taking immediate effect as we are waiting for the Minister to come out with the regulations. Because the production of sugarcane and the sale of sugarcane is continuing and the cheating is continuing as people continue to transact their business. It has been a public outcry and for very long, which needs start measures from government. So what did you prepare for the immediate effect to be done even before the National Bureau of Standards come in, as we prepare the rest to come in?
Immediate, medium, and long term. Are the resolutions that you've made immediate, take immediate effect? Yes, Jonah?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I was here when the Honourable Member raised that matter. This statement by the Minister seemed not to have answered the concerns of the Honourable Member. At that time, the farmers were concerned that the weighbridges which were at their farms have been removed and taken to the factories. For them, the farmers, they had trust that if the sugarcane was weighed on the farms, they are able to verify. But now the millers and the buyers have taken the weighbridges up to their factories, so you load your truck and then the sugarcane is sent, and inside the farmers do not have access to verify how much has been weighed. So they were requesting that the practice of weighing at the farm, at their farms, at the plantations, should be upheld as opposed to loading from wherever the farmers have grown and taking to. That was the concern that was raised, and I have not seen it come.
The good thing, the mover of the question was also part of the meeting. So his issues were resolved there. Yes, yes, Pius?
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. I also have something related to sugarcane growing. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm a farmer. I grow sugarcane in Masindi. I want just to remind the government, the President last year pledged to support sugarcane farmers in form of a grant of 45 billion. But up to now, there's nothing which has been fulfilled. So I'm just reminding the lead of business, government business, please, the farmers are still waiting. Because sugarcane, as the minister has said, is contributing almost 5% of GDP. So the farmers are playing a big role. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Do your resolutions take effect from when they are passed?
To answer the pledge, I think that we shall follow up the pledge of the President, the 5 billion. To the issue of the request by the farmers, that was particular to the weighbridge in Masindi, and there were 2 that had been removed. And in the meeting, through consensus, we said that they should be instituted again so that the farmers do not suffer. The effect, apart from, as the Prime Minister has said, apart from strengthening the regulations by the Attorney General, the others go on because the inspection, calibration takes immediate effect, and we are sending the team from the National Bureau of Standards after Easter to go and ensure that all the weighbridges operating should be calibrated and inspected. And the existing one, the only existing ones, continue to operate as they help the farmers as we work on the those which are being the issue Prime Minister has been calibration and inspection. So we are sending a team of UNBS to calibrate all weighbridges and we shall have a report by end of next week, because they are
Okay.
44 in number.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you. Next item.
Bills first reading. The
Honourable members, pursuant to Article 152, 1 and 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, and Section 7 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, and Rule 134, 1 and 2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development must lay on table the tax bills with attendant documents and the budget by 1st of the month, 1st of April, and today is 1st of April. Honorable Bahati, I know you have another document, but I am only being mindful first of the statutory deadline. We can discuss other things after the statutory documents. I now want to invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table the tax bills, tax and revenue bills, and then after that I will refer them to the relevant committees. Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the bill entitled the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026 be read for the first time. I beg to move. And I want to move that the bill is accompanied by the certificate of financial implications. I don't remove the motion. That's why. And we do them at once. Madam Speaker, with your guidance, I beg to move a motion that the following tax bills be read for the first time. Bill number 1 is the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 2 is the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 3 is the Tax Procedures Code Amendment Bill 2026. Bill number 4 is the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026. 5 is the Rotaries and Gaming Amendment Bill 2026. 7 is the External Trade Amendment Bill 2026. 8 is the Stamp Duty Amendment Bill 2026. And lastly, 9 is the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2026. Madam Speaker, all the bills I have mentioned are accompanied by the certificates of financial implications. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Pursuant to Rule 135(1) of the Rules of Procedure, all the bills and all the tax and revenue bills that have been tabled by the Honorable Minister are referred to the Sector Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration and report back to the House on 21st April 2026.
The Appropriation Bill 2026.
Honorable members, pursuant to Article 156(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 12, subsection 11A of the Public Finance Management Act, and Rule 159 of the Rules of Procedure, I will invite the Honorable Minister to lay on table the Appropriation Bill 2026.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the Appropriations Bill 2026 be read for the first time. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
The Appropriation Bill 2026.
Honorable members, pursuant to Rule 135 of the Rules of Procedure, the bill stands referred to the Budget Committee for consideration and report back on 21st April 2026.
Laying of papers. The annual estimates for the financial year 2026-2027 pursuant to Article 155 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995 and Section 12, 39 and 10, 39, 10 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 155 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honorable members, pursuant to Article 155(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 12, 39 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 155 of the Rules of Procedure, I will invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table the annual budget estimates for financial year 2026-2027 with its attendant documents as stipulated in Section 12, 10 and 11 of the Public Finance Management Act.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure, both recurrent and development, for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 1, Central Government Votes. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for both recurrent and development for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 2, Local Government Votes. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure, recurrent and development for financial year 2026-2027, Volume 3, State-Owned Enterprises and Public Corporations. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, pursuant to the laws you have just mentioned, the Attorney General says there is no harm if I repeat. So, Madam Speaker, for emphasis, pursuant to Article 155 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 12(3) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 171, and Rule 148 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the draft estimates are accompanied by the following documents. One is the Appropriations Bill, which I have just read.
Thank you.
Number 2 is the draft budget for the self-accounting departments, commissions, and organizations set up under the Constitution, and the opinion of government on these budgets, which I wish to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for statutory vote 131, Office of the Auditor General for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker and colleagues, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for vote 104, Parliamentary Commission for the financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for the statutory vote 105, Uganda Law Reform Commission for the financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on the table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for the statutory vote 106, Uganda Human Rights Commission for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay. I beg to lay on the table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for vote 108, National Planning Authority for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on the table, Right Honorable Speaker, the budget estimates for statutory vote 103, Inspectorate of Government for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for statutory vote 101, Judiciary for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the budget estimates for vote 102, Electoral Commission for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the estimates are also accompanied by the statement of multi-year commitments of government for financial year 2026-2027 and the report of performance of projects for financial year 2025-2026, which I also wish to lay.
Please do.
I lay the report of multi-year commitment statement for financial year 2026-2027 and performance of multi-year commitments for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay. Right Honorable.
Please do.
Right Honorable Speaker, the estimates are also accompanied by a statement attesting to the reliability and completeness of the budget estimates of revenue and expenditure for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I also beg to lay the certificate of gender and equity compliance for the draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the certificate of compliance of the annual budget issued by the National Planning Authority. I beg to lay on
Please
table.
lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the certificate of climate change responsiveness of the National Budget Framework paper. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the certificate of financial implications for the draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the list of accounting officers for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Thank you. The list of accounting officers is referred to the Joint Committee of Park, Central Government and Park, COSASE, for scrutiny and report to the House.
Madam Speaker, I now wish to lay the half-year semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay.
Please do.
And this is pages 1 to pages 2,279.
Please do.
I wish to lay the semi-annual performance budget report for financial year 2025-26 from pages 2,280 to pages 4,560. I beg to lay.
Please do.
Madam Speaker, I now lay the semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026 from pages 4,561 to pages 6,840. I beg to lay.
Please do.
This is the continuation of the semi-annual report budget performance for financial year 25-6, pages 6,841 to 9,122. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I beg to lay on the table the semi-annual budget performance report for financial year 2025-2026, pages 9,121 to pages 11,400.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the semi-annual budget performance report, financial year 2025-2026, pages 11,401 to pages 13,687. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the draft estimates are also accompanied by a report on the medium-term debt management strategy, highlighting the following. A, plan for domestic financing of the annual budget. B, plan for external financing, borrowing and grants. C, government plan for debt and any other financial liabilities for financial year 2026-2027. And D, statement of risk associated with all the loans for financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay the report. Right Honorable Speaker, it is titled Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy for financial year 2026-2027 to financial year 2029-2030. I beg to lay on table.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, the draft estimates are also accompanied by the report on public debt, grants, guarantees, and other financial liabilities, highlighting both external debt and domestic debt. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the report on public debt, grants, guarantees, and other financial liabilities as at the end of December 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I have also accompanied the estimates with the Treasury Memoranda. This defines measures taken to implement the recommendations of Parliament in respect of the Auditor General's report for the preceding year, i.e. financial year 2024-2025. Right Honorable Speaker, this is the Treasury Memoranda on the report of the Committee of Public Accounts, Central Government, on the Auditor General report for financial year ended 30th June 2024, and it has central government votes and local government votes and the state-owned enterprises. I beg to lay right Honorable. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table a report on the recoveries of money on the recommendations of the Auditor General. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the consolidated disposal plan for the year ended June. I beg to lay on the table the consolidated disposal plan by government for the year ended June 30th, 2025, and this covers central government, local government, and missions abroad. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the annual report on inflows, outflows, and assets of the Petroleum Fund for the period ended 30th June 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
For the tax bills I have already laid. I now lay the tax expenditure report for the period ended July 2024, for the period July 2025 to March 2026 for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, I now beg to lay the macroeconomic developments and fiscal prospects for financial year 2025-2026 and financial year 2026-2027. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Madam Speaker, in summary, I wish to beg your indulgence in 3 minutes. I summarize what I have laid. Madam Speaker, the budget that I have just laid has been prepared under the theme full monetization of the Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. Right Honorable Speaker, the projected total draft annual budget for financial year 2026-2027 is 84 trillion 294 billion 163 million 572,986 shillings only. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the budget for financial year 2026-2027 has been prepared in line with the 4th National Development Plan, NDP4, the 10-fold growth strategy, and will be the first budget in the to implement the next NRM manifesto for the period 2026-2027 to 2030-2031. The budget has accordingly prioritized investment in agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based industrial development, and science, technology, and innovations, including ICT and creative arts industry, and the enablers. Madam Speaker, under the ATMs, we have categorized in summary the following. Under agro-industrialization, our focus is on agricultural research, inputs, irrigation, extension, value addition, post-harvest management, storage, and enforcing quality standards for market access. On tourism development, we are aiming at promoting Uganda through branding, infrastructure upgrades, sanitation facilities, hospitality standards, enforcement, and investment in specialized facilities, including health tourism. On mineral-based development, our priorities are quantification, strengthening the Uganda National Mining Company, transparent markets, and projects like East African Crude Oil Pipeline. On science, technology, and innovations, we propose to increase financing to support commercialization of STI products like the Chira Motors, Day Biopharma, coffee, and banana, establishing a high-tech city, increasing research and development, affordable and reliable internet, digital government services, and e-commerce, promotion of business processing outsourcing, enforcing of copyright and Neighboring Rights Act, protect intellectual property and artistic works. Right Honorable Speaker, the enablers of these ATMs include peace, security, and rule of law, transport infrastructure, including roads, rail, air and water transport, electricity, industrial park development, human capital development. Here we talk about education, health and water, irrigation, environment and wealth creation funds, that is PDM, UDB, UDC and MYOGA. Right Honorable Speaker, the key expenditure drivers for financial year 2026-2027 annual budget include increased investment in key NDP4 flagship projects such as the standard gauge railway, the meter gauge railway, the Kampala-Jinja Express Highway, the construction and maintenance of critical roads, and electricity for industrial parks, among others. The budget has also provided resources to support readiness activities for AFCON 2027 and enhancement of salaries for primary school teachers and arts teachers in secondary schools, and business, technical, and vocational education and training BTVET institutions. Right Honorable Speaker, we have also proposed the tax policy measures amounting to 1,741 billion to finance the budget. Right Honorable Speaker, I will expound more on the specific critical interventions and investment areas in the budget speech for financial year 2026-2027 that will be read on Thursday, 11th June 2026. Madam Speaker, thank you for your patience. I beg to submit the budget for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Yes, before you comment, I am referring all the documents, all the bills with attendant documents to the Committee of Budget for consideration. Please comment.
Honourable Speaker, I thank the Minister for beating the deadline, because today is the deadline. You are always walking a very tight rope and keeping everybody on the edge with these deadlines. Here is a quick concern, Right Honourable Speaker. You see, the budget framework paper which we received here not very long ago indicated total expenditure estimates of 78.2 trillion with tax projections of 41.5 trillion. The Minister is now giving us new figures a short while down the road, total expenditure estimates being 84.2 trillion. The tax projections being 44.5 trillion. I know that there can be alterations with budgeting and so on, but when we do this too much, we keep wondering what happened between a short while ago and now that you are moving up to 6 trillion shillings upwards. What happened? It, in my view, actually points to fiscal indiscipline. And that's why we need to plan properly and be sure of what it is that we're doing. Every year, and I'm hoping, I don't know who will be, anyway, we'll get there. Every year we keep having supplementary. You know, there's always, of course, a corrigenda even before we go very far. Then before you know it, supplementary. We need to plan properly so that we know how much do we need for the entire fiscal year. Where are we going to find this money? Whenever we keep moving these pieces, sometimes supplementary budgets are about salaries. The Public Finance Management Act provides that supplementary budgets are supposed to be for unforeseeables. Salaries should be foreseeable. Plan for these things. So I'm raising this comment because I'm seeing it now. The budget framework paper is talking about a different figure, 78.2 trillion. Now quickly you're telling us 84.2 trillion. I don't know what will happen along the way when you begin to come here for supplementaries, over foreseeables, over salaries. For me, it is unacceptable that you don't plan for your staff because you have them already within your system. So that cannot be part of unforeseeables. We need to plan better. That's my general clarion call, because I'm seeing it now. When you begin to move these pieces now and shift, the figures, I am worried that along the way we might have a similar problem.
Thank
I hope
you.
we shall not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Lob, when we pass the BFP, there are some items that committees recommend to move from unfunded to funded. That increases on the value, and that's why you find that we have the second budget called circular. So, but anyway, you can hear from the that is that. I used to be in that committee. Honorable, my former chairman, yes. Shadow.
I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulate the Honorable Musasizi for meeting the minimum legal requirement of presenting this document. I have two concerns. The first concern, all these documents bear the signature of Honorable Matia Kasaija, who was a minister in 1980. That's the first time you got appointed. And I think he will be 83 years this year. Is it because of age that he must load this responsibility to Honorable Musasizi? Because I sit on the Committee on Finance, we have been meeting the Honorable Musasizi. I sympathize with him. It's as if he took over the responsibility of the Honorable Matia Kasaija. I only read in the papers that he was briefing the NRM caucus. Is he avoiding Parliament deliberate? That's the first concern. That all the documents bear the signature of Honorable Matia Kasaija. But they are trafficked here by Honorable Musasizi all the time.
They are not trafficked here. That is a wrong statement. They are not trafficked here. These statements are brought in by the Minister of Finance, State Minister of Finance
Speaker,
and Economy.
The word traffic, I didn't know that is negative. Okay, they are brought here, Madam
Yes,
Speaker.
But
That's the first concern. Which usually all the ministers of 80 and above are no longer here. I don't want to go through their names. Is it did they take a decision in the cabinet that all the people will no longer come to Parliament, and yet they remain ministers?
Honorable,
the final concern, Madam Speaker. I think when the Attorney General and the government are considering constitutional reviews, it will be fair in the future to allow a new government do the budget. The transition between one government to another, because the Honorable Musasizi comfortably says this is to implement the NRM manifesto. Certainly there will be a day when the manifesto to be implemented is not NRM. So I think in the future we need to make constitutional arrangement so that the budget for a year starting a term of office is done by those who are in office. Because those of us who are doing the budget are now exiting. But people who will implement the budget are going to be sworn in maybe in a month's time. So I am only asking the Attorney General and government to consider that in the future, because there will be a transition certainly to another government. So you come here and you have Musasizi's PDM, what, and you want to change them, and they have passed them in Parliament.
thank you. Honorable Semujo, maybe Lob. The budgeting process is a consultative one. And as when we are consulting, we go back and forth. It is not cast on stone. So that's why you find that figures keep on changing. And then maybe on the other thing of honorable young member of Parliament, you know, the other ministers are old, so for him he's a young member of Parliament. I want to refer you to Article 117 of the Constitution of Republic of Uganda on the responsibility of a minister collective responsibility. Yes. He was still responding. He's still responding to what was asked.
Honourable Speaker, I'm not objectionable to alterations, and I mentioned that in my remarks.
You're actually giving advice.
Somebody was disrupting the speaker at that point. I did make that acknowledgement. Alterations can happen. You plan for A, by end of the day, you are not able to meet it, or maybe you have acquired some more money, so you want to do it better. That can happen. But I'm saying generally, we shift these financial goalposts a lot. And then I dwelt a great deal on supplementary. So I'm hoping that, Honourable Minister, in that 84.2 trillion shillings worth of budget, there will not be the kind of supplementaries we see here all the time that are not unforeseeable, because the Act talks about unforeseeables. People normally bring supplementary budgets here, including for salaries. That's fiscal indiscipline. Plan for your staff. Let the unforeseeables be a disaster has happened in Bududa, in Kasese, in wherever.
Or even in
Nakawa. Chitezi, that's part of Kampala. Yes, and there's a time we had a fire and so on. Those are unforeseeables and they're understandable. So when you come here and you say floods happened, we want to compensate people, we want to take care of this, that's understandable. But please don't come here for salaries. No, that's not acceptable. What you're telling your staff is you don't consider them serious at all. That's why you don't plan for them.
Thank you.
I hope you have planned for them.
Thank you. Next item. Next item.
Request for parliamentary approval to write off non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited.
Honorable Member, Section 33(1) of the Finance Management Act 2015 permits the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to write off a loss or a deficiency in public resources subject to the approval of Parliament. I now want to invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table a request for a write-off of the non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay on table the request to write off non-tax revenue owed by Kilembe Mines Limited. I beg to lay right on.
Thank you. The request stands referred to the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for consideration.
Request for reallocation of budget estimates for the financial year 2025-26 and revision of work plans for the National Forestry Authority and the Ministry of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure RAPEX reform.
Honorable members, following the rationalization process, the need has arisen to reallocate funds from NFA, which was a mainstream, into the Ministry of Water and Environment, and pursuant to Section 19 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, I will invite the Minister to table the request of reallocation. Honorable members, you remember NFA was rationalized with the Minister of Water and Environment.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, considering the urgency of this matter, with your guidance, I can move by way of motion.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize reallocation of budget estimates for financial year 2025-2026 and revision of work plans for the National Forestry Authority and the Ministry of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies and public expenditures RAPEX reform. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Seconded. Seconded by Honorable Bua, Honorable Bahati, Honorable Amos, Honorable Charity, Paul, Nekesa, Dog Professor, Honorable Kisa, Abeja, Honorable Emmanuel, Honorable Eric, by the whole side. Thank you. Would you want to justify?
Right Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Section 19 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 56 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament, no, it is 19. I want to refer you to Cap 171, Section 19. Section 19. Section 19 deals with reallocation of funds from a vote. It is under this section that I am moving. Madam Speaker.
If you don't have the act, I can give you.
Madam Speaker, in line with the Cabinet decision, under minute extracts 43 CT 2021 on RAPEX, on 1st August 2025, His Excellency the President assented to the National Forestry and Tree Planting Bill 2025 following approval by A, to mainstream the National Forestry Authority into Ministry of Water and Environment. Right Honorable Speaker, to ensure uninterrupted service delivery, there is a need to transfer or reallocate the respective budgets of the National Forestry Authority to enable the Ministry of Water and Environment to take on the rationalized functions for the remaining 3 quarters of this financial year. Madam Speaker, the approved budget for National Forestry Authority is Uganda shillings 47.467 billion, as at the end of quarter 1, an amount of Uganda shillings 11.317 billion had been released, leaving a balance of 36.15 billion. In quarter 2 of this financial year, Uganda shillings 12.757 billion was released, resulting in an actual balance of Uganda shillings 23.393 billion. Right Honorable Speaker, you will note that there is no savings on wage from the above rationalized institution in financial year 2025-2026 because most of the staff to be mainstreamed are scientists who are earning less than the approved science salary structure. Right Honorable Speaker, the anticipated saving of Uganda shillings 1.391 billion arising from boards, committees, and council allowances, social security contributions, employee gratuity, and medical expenses and rent etc. Right Honorable Speaker, taking into consideration the above savings transferred from vote 157 Uganda Forestry Authority to vote 019 Ministry of Water and Environment, the receiving entity, to guarantee seamless service delivery and a smooth transition, as I detailed in the submissions I made to you. The terminal benefits of Uganda shillings 2.246 billion for the affected staff have been provided for under the budget for Ministry of Water and Environment for financial year 2026-2027. 2027. Madam Speaker, this is a very urgent issue and it has the timing effect if not considered. I therefore would wish to appeal to colleagues to consider this motion and pass it to enable the necessary steps to settle the employees and also mainstream the functions move forward. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. This is a straightforward transfer arising out of rationalization. Jonah?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the contrary, it's not straightforward because when the sectoral committee sits to process the ministerial policy statement and the budget, there are a set of accompanying documents that are examined and the minister is required to clarify on them. If we proceed by the approach the minister is taking, I wonder at what point we are going to examine him and ask questions as if we are seated in the committee, unless the House is going to constitute itself into a committee of the whole House, and then these documents can then be available to each one of us who are seated here to look at the work plan, which is being reallocated, to look at the staff list, the staffs that are going to be affected, to look at the procurement plan, and all that. And these documents have not been available to us. So I implore that the agency cannot take away the right of the committee responsible for the sector to examine at the shortest notice, at the shortest possible period. It can be done.
Yes,
So-
Honourable Katesh.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm in support of the motion presented by the Minister, and I want to just say that this should have come long time, because the question is, did the functions move? The answer is yes. Now, the motion should have come earlier, and therefore I do not see if the function moved under the section of the PFMA we are talking about. The money should have gone to the entity where the functions have moved, and that should have been done earlier. So we need to clean it up so that we do not enter into a financial year, into another budgeting process with this backlog. I beg to submit.
During the rationalization, were the documents provided? Yes, Honourable Iki.
Madam Speaker, I would like to move a motion, but before I do that, I would like to seek the guidance from you, through you from the Attorney General. Madam Speaker, when we did RAPEX, we repealed most of the acts. And if we repeal the NFA Act, that created that vote, do we still have that vote in place? Don't you think automatically when we repealed and merged, the vote automatically moved to the ministry? So it was automatically mainstreamed. Madam Speaker, I'm seeking for that guidance before I move the motion.
Does the vote move or the money moves?
No, Madam Speaker, the guidance is if the institution, the act was repealed, so it ceases to exist and everything was merged. But I would benefit from the guidance. Then I move a motion that we proceed.
The vote is like a number plate of a car.
Yes.
So the car can get burned and you remain with the number plate. The car is not there. So NFA was there and this number plate was this vote. So we removed the vote. But the money was in Parliament's control through appropriation. So the money is there. The housing is there. So now Parliament must move it from one point to another. So the vote does not necessarily close. The only person who can close and move a vote is Parliament by a specific resolution of Parliament.
So what the minister is asking for is to move the money, not the vote. Yes, motion.
Madam Speaker, based on that wise guidance from the Attorney General through you, I beg to move the motion, therefore, that the question be put. Because this is a very simple matter.
Seconded by Honourable Mpindi, Honourable Aisha, Honorable Stephen, Honorable Mara, Honorable Isaac, and Noah, by the whole side and this side. I put a question that this House approves the Minister's request to reallocate budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026 and revision of work plans for the National Forest Authority and the Minister of Water and Environment affected by rationalization of government agencies. And those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, by the resolution, the minister is authorized to effect the transfer of the money to vote to 019. Next. Next.
I'm going to the report of the biennial.
Next.
The biannual performance reports of the Inspectorate of Government.
Honourable members, Article 231(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, requires the IGG to submit to Parliament at least once in every 6 months a report on the performance of its function, making such recommendations such as consideration of necessary actions to be approved by Parliament. I now want to invite the Commissioner Emeritus to lay the report on table for the 53rd and 54th.
Right Honourable Speaker, in conformity with our rules of procedure, I beg to lay on table the biannual performance report of the Inspectorate of Government covering period July to December 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
In the same vein, Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay on table the biannual performance report of the Inspectorate of Government covering period January to June 2025. I beg to lay.
Please lay. Thank you. The reports are referred to the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs for consideration. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to thank you and thank Parliament as regards the matter of the IGG, but something I would like to draw to your attention, Right Honourable Speaker. There are very many government entities outside there that are renting premises, Right Honourable Speaker, costing the taxpayer a lot of money. I would like to commend this Parliament for having come out to say that government entities should have their own homes, and funded the IGG, the construction of the IGG building. However, last time when we were in legal and parliamentary and they came, they clearly made a point that whereas we had budgeted, and this comes back to the Honorable Musasi's, whereas we had budgeted for the construction of the building, the premises, we did not budget for the furnishing of the building. And I remember you noted that and said, how could it be possible that you budget for the construction of the building and not the furniture itself? So you find that government premises complete buildings without having furniture. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to say and to call upon your indulgence in this matter, that we have a holistic approach in budgeting so that we are not rubber stamped all the time. Because you raised it the other time and said you cannot come here with piecemeal budgets where you have one of construction of premises without a budget, leading to delays.
Thank you. Budgeting is a function of executive. So executive should come with a budget and to the house. Yes, Pato.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, when the Honourable Musas was laying the tax bills, I was raising, but thank you for the opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, my concern is one. When we lay these tax proposals here, what happens? The public picks this information and the tax collectors immediately adjust the taxes and they start charging before 1st of July. And I just want to request that the Honourable Musasizi makes a public...
There is an order.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, if I did hear Honourable Patrick Oshabe well, I think he referred to the tax collector, which in this case is Uganda Revenue Authority, that immediately the tax bills are laid, they adjust the taxes. I think Honorable Shabe could be mistaking a tax collector for a taxpayer. It's true that some of our businessmen and women are not prudent enough, that a slight shift in economic policies or even environment. I'll give you a case like the war in Iran now. The oil prices have gone up, but before some of our oil traders, if I may call them,
you're deviating from what Honorable Shabe is saying.
Yes, so is it in order to say that immediately tax bills are laid here, the tax collector adjusts the taxes and start billing the taxpayer? Instead, it is the other way around. The taxpayer is the one who increases the prices, not the tax collector. Is the Honorable Oshabe in order, therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, to so infer that URA is not doing its work?
I am not, I don't want to debate this in anticipation. We're only speculating because I have not seen it. I have not seen it. And Honorable Shabe.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I wish my colleague listened. I knew the word URA, and I know that many people collect taxes on behalf of URA. And I chose my words correctly. Next time, I think my colleague would do listening, and probably it would argue better. But my Right Honourable Speaker, what I wanted is for the Honourable Musasizi to issue a statement that protects our people in the public. Whenever it goes on here, the taxes of this have been increased. Those people, they just increase, and these taxes are applicable only when it happens, when we pass them, and when the new financial year begins in 1st of July. Now you can imagine we are in March, and some people go on collecting those taxes which can never even be reflected within our financial statements. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Ignorance of the law is no defense. Thank you. Next item.
Item 4 on the order paper, Bill second reading, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025.
Honorable members, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Service Bill 2025 is a government bill that was reintroduced for the first reading on 29th July 2025. Earlier in February 2025, the bill had been withdrawn to enable broadening of its scope. And pursuant to Rule 136(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I will invite the Minister of Internal Affairs to move a motion to the effect for the second reading. But in the meantime, I can introduce my visitors in the VIP gallery. This afternoon we have a Member of Parliament-elect for Bukedea District, Honorable Okwere David Bicham. Join me in welcoming my MP. Bukedea County. You're most welcome, Honorable Bicham. Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, in accordance with Rule 136 of the Rules of Procedure of this Parliament, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 be read for the second time. I beg to move.
Seconded by Wilson, by Baka, by Musasi, Aisha, Bohejo, by Honorable Kania, Achora, Emmanuel, Eric, Noya, Ezama, Gomba, Moses, Tom, Kabong, and Chua. Then Honorable Nekesa. Would you love to speak to your motion?
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, justification for this motion is that the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill establishes a comprehensive framework to regulate forensic and scientific analytical services in the country. Additionally, the bill provides for the designation of the Department of Inspection and Legal Services at the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the regulator of forensics and scientific analytical services. It also outlines procedures for the collection, handling, and use of samples for investigative purposes, and also designates the Government Analytical Laboratory as the National Poison Information and Control Center.
Thank you so much, and pursuant to Rule 136(2) of the Rules of Procedure, I will now invite the Chairman of Defense and Internal Affairs to present a report on the committee. Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, first, may I lay on table the original signed report and the record of proceedings, meetings, and engagements with stakeholders as the committee processed the bill. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
I now proceed to present the report. Right Honorable Speaker. Introduction, and I will be brief. On Tuesday, 29th July 2025, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 was read for the first time and referred to the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs for scrutiny and reporting
under Rule 135 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Committee has since considered the bill in consultation with various stakeholders and now presents its report. The report provides an overview and analysis of the bill, including its objectives, its provisions, implications, and committee recommendations. Objectives of the bill. The object of the bill is to, 1, provide for regulation of forensic and scientific analytical services. 2, establish the government analytical laboratory. 3, designate the government analytical laboratory as the national center for forensic and analytical services. 4, designate the Department of Inspection and Legal Services in the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the regulator of forensic and scientific analytical services. 5, provide for the collection, taking, and use of bodily samples for investigative purposes. 6, designate the Government Analytical Laboratory as the National Poison Information Center. 7, provide for related matters. Defects in the existing law. Right Honorable Speaker, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 seeks to establish a legal framework for regulating forensic and scientific analytical services in Uganda. Currently, there is no comprehensive legislation governing the sector, nor is there a National Poison Information Center responsible for handling and disseminating information on poisoning incidents. Although Government Analytical Laboratory has been the primary provider for forensic and scientific analytical services, it has not been formally designated as the national referral institution for such services. The absence of a dedicated regulatory framework has limited effective oversight, standard setting, quality control, and the systematic development of forensic and scientific analytical services in the country. The bill, therefore, seeks to address these gaps by establishing a structured regulatory regime. The methodology, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, we had meetings, and the committee met with and received written memoranda from the following stakeholders: Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Health, Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, Dr. Sylvester Onzivoa. This is a retired pathologist revered in this country. Mr. Rogers Mwesigwa, Director, NICAO Engineering and General Services. The committee also received written submissions from the Attorney General, Uganda Law Society, Uganda Medical Association. We also did document review, and in conducting its analysis, the committee referred to the following documents: the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, the Evidence Act, Cap 8, the Police Act, Cap 324, Public Health Act, 310, the Inquest Act, Cap 13, Medical and Dental Practitioners Act, Cap 300, the Allied Health Professionals Act, Cap 145, and the National Environment Act, Cap 181. We made some salient observations, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues. The committee reviewed the bill with particular focus on the clarity of its scope, the consistency of its definitions, and the strength of its regulatory framework. In addition, the committee examined legal basis for licensing analytical laboratories and assessed whether enforcement mechanisms, including inspections and licensing revocation, provide adequate safeguards against arbitrary action. The committee also analyzed the procedures governing the forensic and scientific analysis and analytical reports and considered the need for transitional provisions to validate prior forensic work conducted before the commencement of this act. The committee's observations are presented under the following thematic areas. 1, the need for clear definitions and interpretation. The bill seeks to regulate forensic and Scientific Analytical Services by designating the Government Analytical Laboratory as the national referral for forensic and scientific analytical services, and the Department of Inspection and Legal Services as the regulatory authority under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. However, the committee observed that certain key terms, including forensic practitioner, forensic analysis, and forensic science, were not clearly defined in the bill. The absence or the limited precise definitions could create ambiguity, confusion, and potential overlap with the medical legal functions already regulated under existing laws, particularly in relation to evidence, the evidence under the Evidence Act Cap 8 and postmortems under the Inquest Act Cap 1.3. The committee notes that several statutes already govern aspects of medical legal practice within the health and the justice sectors.
Yes, local government.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, given the time and given that we've been with this report for some time, I want it to be procedure right. It highlights us briefly the observations and then their recommendations. Then we move to committee stage.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I will do as guided. So we can look at this. We looked at the scope and application of the Act. We looked at administration and institutional arrangements of the bill. We particularly clauses 2 to 10, Part 2, Department of Girl and Inspection. We looked at the institutional framework of the bill. We looked at forensic and scientific analysis, management of the forensic and scientific database, which is Part 4, clauses 2 to 24 of the bill. We considered submissions from the Uganda Law Society to that effect. We also considered the guidance from the Learned Attorney General, that effect. We looked at the revocation and suspension of licenses. Under that, we defined, we went properly to see the unfit and improper person as considered in the bill. We looked at the laboratory and analytical reports. In that, we're looking at a certificate of analysis, a lack of which, or whether it is covered under other legislations. We looked at the National Poison Information Center, which is Part 6, Part 5, Clause 30, particularly of the bill. And as I say, we looked at what World Health Organization defines a poison to be. Were guided by the Learned Attorney General as far as NPI, or National Poison Information Center, is supposed to be. We looked at the saving provisions of the bill. And our conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, was that the committee notes that the Forensic Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 seeks to create a regulatory framework for forensic and scientific analytical services in Uganda. While the bill strengthens forensic and scientific analytical services, certain provisions require clarification for consistency and alignment with the current laws. In light of the foregoing observations, the committee recommends that the bill be considered for the second reading, subject to the proposed amendments attached hereto and any other modifications this House may propose and approve. I beg to report.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chairman. Honourable members, I put a question that the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 be read the second time. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025, Bills Committee stage. New clause.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair and Honorable colleagues, proposed amendments to the Forensic and the Scientific and Analytical Services Bill. Insertion of a clause. We insert a new clause immediately before clause 1 as follows. 1. Application of Act. This Act shall apply to analytical laboratories registered under this Act. 2. This Act shall not apply to analytical laboratories registered or regulated under any other law. The justification for this, Right Honorable Chair and Honorable colleagues, is that we do this to provide for general application of the Act and exclude analytical laboratories already registered or regulated under any other law. I beg to submit.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we are creating this law to provide a general law that is applicable, and I thought we are creating a superior law. So the other laws, Mr. Chairman, would subjected to this one.
AG.
Not quite right, Honorable Chair. Actually, this provision that the committee is proposing to bring into the application clause in clause 1 already exists in clause 12. In clause 12 of the bill. So what the committee is doing is moving clause 12 and moving it to the beginning of the bill. But why it is important is that some labs do actually do scientific and like clinics. They may be what they do, the work they do on us could also fall into that space. But that one is managed by the medical. When they're doing medical, they are licensed. All the labs would be licensed. So what this provision is saying, whatever lab or analytical lab that you will have in the country, forensic, analytical, of any nature, must be licensed. So if it is not licensed or provided for under any other law, then it brings it to this law. We are very careful not to disrupt the entire system, especially the medical area, because of the definitions kind of spread into the medical space. So that was the intention. So what the committee has done is just moved clause 12 and brought it to clause 1 for clarity and emphasis.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
I agree with that relocation of that clause by the committee.
I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say the control nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Clause 1 is interpretation.
Right Honorable Chair, interpretation. Clause 1 is amended.
Chair, we can stand over it.
Okay.
And then we come back to it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair, clause 5, functions of department. Clause 5 is amended by substituting for paragraph B the following. B, monitor compliance with the code of practice for forensic practitioners. B, in paragraph E, by inserting the words and scientific immediately after the word forensic. What's the justification for this? To provide for monitoring of the code of practice for forensic practitioners as opposed to monitoring of forensic ethical and private matters which cannot be ascertained. Second, justification, the insertion of the word unscientific is provided for consistency in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honorable Speaker.
AG.
We have no objection to the proposed amendment.
I put a question that clause 5 be amended as proposed. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5 as amended.
I put a question that clause 5 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I put a question that clause 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chairperson. Clause 11. Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services. Clause 11 is amended by inserting a new clause immediately after subclause 2 as follows. An analytical laboratory shall, in the performance of the services under subsection 1, act independently and shall not be subject to the direction and control of any other person, including the department. What's the justification for this? To grant an analytical laboratory the independence to carry out their functions without interference of any other person. I submit.
Eki.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, we always have this misinterpretation of the independence. The independence should not mean non-accountability. That clarity needs to be made. And the independence is as regards scientific work, not administrative, not financial. This clarity, Madam Chair, need to be made very clear because some of these institutions want to hide under the clause of independence. Thank you.
AG.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. I think the committee did take that into consideration and limited this independence to the functions that are set out in 11.1. So the rest of the bill, they said the independence of the analytical lab is in respect to the items that are set out in 11.1. I think it's a good addition to the bill.
Thank you. Minister.
I concur, Right Honorable Speaker.
I put a question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11 as amended.
I put a question that clause 11 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
Chair.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 12 deals with registration of analytical laboratories. Clause 12 is amended in subclause 1A by inserting the word analytical immediately before the word laboratory. B, by deleting subclause 6, and C, by substituting subclause 7 the following. Subject to section 1, a person shall not provide forensic services without a license issued under this act. And we justify this as below. The insertion of the word analytical is to provide consistency with the term laboratory. Second, the deletion of subclause 6 is consequential arising from the proposed application in clause 1. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur for consistency.
AG.
I have no objection to that amendment.
I put a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12 as amended.
I put a question that clause 12 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I put a question that clause 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. You can't even say aye. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
Clause 19.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 19 is about revocation or suspension of license. Clause 19 is amended. A, in subclause 2 by deleting paragraph F. B, by deleting subclause 3. What's the justification for this? Is the deletion of paragraph F is to avoid abuse that would arise in the determination of an unfit and improper person to hold a license, since there is no set criteria. To provide an independent provision for cancellation of certificate of registration. Now, insertion of new clause. Insert a new clause immediately after clause 19 as follows. Cancellation of certificate of registration. The department shall, A, before cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, give the owner of the analytical laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled.
Have we passed 19 before you get to the insertion of new clause?
It will be one clause.
They are not.
Okay.
Those are two different clauses. The new clause comes after 19.
Okay. I
Yes.
stand with your guidance.
Yes. Minister?
I want to differ with the committee's proposal respectfully because the proposal as is necessary to enable the licensing authority to act where the licensee becomes unsuitable and is in breach of the license. But also, Right Honourable Speaker and members, the vocabulary of fit and proper person is best practices phrase, and if you remove it, you would water down the regulatory powers of the regulator.
AG?
Thank you, Right Honourable Chair. Right Honourable Chair, I agree with the Honourable Minister, because fit and proper test has now been used and it's now totally established thing. Fit is physically, mentally you're fit. Proper, you have good character, you do not have any serious issues, crime, history. So when they say you're going to incur the fit and you're going to use the fit and proper test, it is not out of the ordinary. But if you say that a person who has become unfit and improper to hold a license should be allowed to continue analyzing laboratory works, I think that I pray that that amendment, clause 19(2)(f), be rejected by the House, and the clause 19(2)(f) do stand part of the bill. We submit.
So is the whole clause standing part of the bill? As it is in the bill?
Right Honourable Chair, the committee did make two proposals in respect to clause 19. One is to delete clause 19(2)(f), which related to fit and proper test. That is what we've been submitting on and requesting that the House does keep that as part of the bill. However, the committee did propose that clause 19(3) be deleted from this provision and be given a standalone provision. So we do accept that clause 19(3) be deleted from the bill, but 19(2)(b) do stand part of the bill. I beg to submit.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the minister and further amended by the AG. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19 as amended.
I put a question that clause 19 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right, Honorable Chair. Now we insert a new clause. And certainly this is a consequential amendment. Insert a new clause immediately after clause 19 as follows. Cancellation of certificate of registration. The department shall, A, before cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, give an owner of the analytical laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled. B, after cancelling the certificate of registration of an analytical laboratory, the government shall publish the cancellation in the Gazette. Justification for this, Right Honourable Chair and Honourable colleagues, this is a consequential amendment. I beg to submit. And the numbering can be rectified later.
Minister.
I agree, Right Honourable Speaker. It's in the spirit of due process.
AG.
No objection to the proposal by the committee.
Type. Yes.
Madam Chair, I was just wondering
Madam Chair, excuse me.
Isaac.
Thank you, please. I was just wondering whether a time frame is necessary in this case for the person whose license is going to be terminated to show, to prove, because by the time that you are being suspected that they want to take away your certificate, then we should not leave you a lot of time continuing operating. So I was thinking.
Okay. Yes, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. There is an inquiry I want to make. There are two entities of which we are talking about the license. A license can be of the laboratory. I think that the consequential inclusion that you're bringing in. But the previous article was referring to an individual, license to the individual. How do we separate these within this law? Because you can either license, you can revoke a license from an individual, a practitioner within the laboratory, or to revoke a license of the laboratory itself. So I can see two licenses here. And they don't seem to be separated within 19 and the subsequent inclusion. Madam Chair.
Well, Honourable colleague, we are talking about cancellation of a certificate of registration for an analytical laboratory. Yes, a laboratory.
I want to refer you to clause 19, 3A. I want to refer you to clause 19, 3A, which says, before cancellation of the certificate of registration of the laboratory under this section, give the owner of the laboratory an opportunity to show cause why the certificate should not be cancelled. So
yes, Madam
this
Chair.
is a process.
I think what the honourable member is referring to is why do we say, and I think he's going back to a clause which we have closed, but I can just explain it, where you say a person is not fit and proper. When we define person, it can be legal, it can be a legal person or a natural person. So whenever we find a clause, instead of saying whether a person or a company or an entity, so we use a person, which gives us
Honorable Attorney General, just tell him in law, a person.
Yeah, so we are saying
not in medics.
When we define a person, we are trying to give the law the breadth to find a natural person and an unnatural person, an incorporated person in whatever form, whether it's a partnership, whether it's a limited liability company, limited by a guarantee, we use a person. So when we say a person has been found unfit and improper, and improper, then we can look at the person who is running the entity, or we can look at the entity itself. So all those can be covered in that. So it's just giving it wide interpretation.
Thank you. The timing.
Right, Honorable Chair and colleagues. The timelines for these labs, we propose that we address this in the regulation, because they're different labs and they have different effect. If you, for example, if the problem is with the central lab, the way we address that problem is different from when we address the supporting labs. Because if you have a problem with the lower lab, you can take your material to the main lab for what? For confirmation. So we'll propose that the timelines be, and even the conditions and how they will show cause should be done in the regulations.
Madam Chair, the clarity to a layperson in Katikam South would be on whether this license is on an individual or the laboratory itself. Because when we talk about someone being capable and the laboratory not meeting the requirements, those are totally different things. So maybe the AG can clarify on whether this license is on the individual running the laboratory or the laboratory itself.
I think it may seem like it's confusing, but it is not. The laboratory is definitely going to be run by people. So when we give the license and say this analytical lab has been licensed, indeed that lab is not going to walk to the ministry to get the license. Someone is responsible. There is a natural person behind that lab. So when we do this, we do not want the natural person to get out or the unnatural person to get out. So, but I mean, if it is for clarity purposes, we can say a person or including, we can include, we were very clear in our drafting, but for purposes, like he said, for the layman to follow, we will clarify that.
Thank you. Aisha.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in support of Honorable Nathan about the inclusion of time, because the
Isaac.
The time is to revocation of a license. It's not about the procedures in laboratories, but a person that needs to show cause why his license should not be revocated. I think it's proper for us to put their time, because some person can give somebody 2 days, 3 days. The law should be clear about that. Maybe within 2 months, a person should show cause why his laboratory should not be, the license should not be cancelled. I think it's right.
The challenge with that, Right Honorable Chair and colleagues, is that if, for example, a lab has gone into the business of selling wrong reports in respect to, say, DNA, for argument's sake, whereas there could be someone who is giving reports which are wrong for people who are dying. So if you say that I will give these people the same amount of time, will be a problem. So the regulations will be able, there are so many different, if you look at clause 11, it shows you the number of the kind of tests. There are those labs which will be doing toxicology. There are those that will be doing biology. There are those that will be dealing with illicit trade. And all of them have different nature of parameters. So we're thinking that you allow the technical people to know how they will be regulating, because when you're getting a license, they give you a license to do certain things. And the scrutiny, the higher the expectation from you, the greater the scrutiny. So it may be best placed under regulation, but I agree that the time within which to show cause and address this must be set.
Right Honorable Chair, there is agreement that times should...
Chair, just a small one. And the chair is allowed. Thank you. AG, I really needed a clarification on the issue person or the entity. There is a scientist who is a person. he has been licensed, and that scientist is given a job in particular lab A. And it is this scientist that has made up a mess, and the particular lab A chooses to chase this scientist away. Now you are coding a punishment, a laboratory and a person. And we're not providing for the two. I think the scientist and the entity should be separated in this law.
Honorable Chair.
Yes, AJ.
I think if you look at clause 19, it gives you the reasons why a license can be revoked. And what you're discussing is if a person has been found unfit and improper. If the regulations require you to have a lab expert, an expert in toxicology, and that expert in toxicology has been found to be a person who is not fit and proper, why would the lab continue to have a license to do toxicology when it does not have an expert in toxicology? No, if you get the other expert, then you meet the requirement. If while you do not, you see, it is like saying, let us keep the clinic open because the doctor has run mad and can no longer treat the patients. Let's keep the clinic open until we get another doctor. No, you first close the clinic, get a doctor, then license the clinic to operate, because the clinic doesn't operate without a doctor.
Honorable members, I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
The chair.
Right, Honorable Chair. Clause 21 is request for analysis. Clause 21 is amended in subclause 3 by inserting the word or substance immediately after the word chemical. The justification is to achieve consistency and clarity on the request of an analysis on a chemical or substance. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Speaker.
AJ.
I concur, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 21 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21 as amended.
I put a question that clause 21 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I put a question that clause 22 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, clause 23 deals with certificate of analysis. Clause 23 is amended A by substituting for the head note the following: laboratory analytical report. B, subclause 1. In subclause 1, by substituting for word certificate of analysis or report, the words laboratory analytical report, and wherever the words appear in the clause. The justification is the substitution of the certificate of analysis is to provide for laboratory analytical report, which is more elaborate and includes a certificate of analysis. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I agree, Right Honourable Chair.
AG.
We agree and we thank the committee for it.
I put a question that clause 23 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23 as amended.
I put a question that clause 23 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I put a question that clause 24 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I put a question that clause 25 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I put a question that clause 26 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 27.
I put a question that clause 27 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
I put a question that clause 28 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
I put a question that clause 29 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
I put a question that clause 30 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31.
I put a question that clause 31 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32.
Chair.
Right, Honorable Chair. Clause 32 deals with record keeping. Clause 32 is amended by inserting the word analytical immediately after the word registered. And justification is for consistency with the term analytical laboratory as is used in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I concur, Right Honourable Chair.
AG.
No objection, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 32 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32 as amended.
I put a question that clause 32 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
Chair.
Clause 33 is about reporting. Clause 33 is amended in subclause 1 by inserting the word analytical immediately after the word registered. Justification is for consistency still with the term analytical laboratory as used in the bill. I beg to submit.
Minister.
I agree with the committee.
AG.
No objection, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question that clause 33 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33 as amended.
I put a question that clause 33 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 34.
I put a question that clause 34 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 35.
I put a question that clause 35 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 36.
Chair.
Right Honourable Chair, clause 36 about offences and penalties. Clause 36 is amended A in subclause 3 by substituting the words analytical report, the words laboratory analytical report. B by inserting a new paragraph as follows. A person who uses a DNA profile or accesses a DNA profile and information without authorization of the government analytical laboratory, C, by deleting the subclause 7. The justification for this, the substitution of the term analytical report is to provide for a broader document of analysis, since the laboratory analytical report includes a certificate of analysis. Another justification, the insertion of the new paragraph is to provide clarity on subclause 7. Other, the deletion of subclause 7 is a consequential amendment. I beg to submit.
Yes, Patrick.
Chair, I have a problem here. In this insertion, the chairperson wants to make the government analytical laboratory the regulator. Because the new insertion is saying that a person who uses DNA profile or access a DNA profile and if without the authorization of the government analytical laboratory. Yet in the object of the bill, the government analytical laboratory is established as one of the service providers. And there is a regulator who is the Department of Inspection and Legal Services at the Ministry of Internal Affairs as the provided regulatory body. So when we make one of the laboratories, the government laboratory, the regulator, it will be conflict of interest.
I want to refer you to the object of the bill. Check the object of the bill. It says to designate the government analytical laboratory as the national referral for forensic and analytical services. It's a referral.
Madam Speaker, the referral is for higher consultation, not for regulation.
Chair, I want to support the chair of the committee because this is about accessing, not so. It's about accessing information of the laboratory analytical, not regulation. And I don't know how you can access without the permission of the people in the laboratory. I don't see. I do not seem to understand the clause the chairman brings to mean regulation. I don't understand it that way unless otherwise.
Madam Chair, the word is authorization. And when the word authorization comes, Madam Chair, it implies other laboratories or an individual must first seek permission from
authorities. Authorization is having authority. It is a referral, national referral. It's having authority.
To understand the member, you're saying how should people access the profile? We should just allow people to access people's DNA? Because the purpose, I thought, and we understood the committee to say that there's certain material that if it is not yours, you should not access it without government permission. So what we are saying, would you rather that the person who authorizes is the department?
the regulator. Who is the regulator under this system?
Well, I think for us the principle here is a person who uses a DNA profile, and this was a recommendation from the committee, but when we received it, we actually welcomed it. Because it was saying a person who uses a DNA profile or accesses a DNA profile or information without the authorization commits an offense. So we are saying authorization by who? In the wisdom of the committee was that if you want to access my DNA, go to the government analytical laboratory and get authorization.
Patrick, I hope you're not thinking like somebody in my village, thinking of that laboratory in my village school.
Madam Chair, we have provided private services under these circumstances. We have provided private laboratories, and somebody in a private care can have a DNA profile which is not in the government analytical laboratory. So we need a regulator, and the regulator is the one who should be doing the authorization.
Honorable Feta.
Right, Honorable Chair. Forensic services have one key challenge, and that challenge is the credibility of the results. So I wanted to know, Mr. Attorney General, how are we going to address the issue of the credibility of the results? Does the government analytical services conclusively address the issue of credibility of services?
You've gone to policies, Honorable Member. Let's look at the law. You get it, eh?
Right, Honorable Chair. I think what Honorable Shaba is saying is exactly what I thought the committee was trying to accrue. To say that we are going to license people everywhere to do these things. We are telling these people that you who is being licensed, do not release Honorable Shaba's DNA material to anyone other than him without authorization. And we are saying
that if you want, the question that we are discussing is who authorizes. So we are, and that's what we are, that's what the committee proposed, that should be the government analytical lab. You are proposing that it should be the department.
Yes.
I think even the department should not be authorized. I should authorize. Or, if at all I'm absent and you wanted to access results of DNA or whatever it is, should be a court.
I think here, this the issue that the committee was trying to address, and I think the committee will speak to it, a person who uses this profile without authorization, is what they are refusing. So, no, but you see, the thing is that, for example, if you enter the DNA profile as a criminal, for example, that profile becomes available to government to compare with other profiles. Because if you are being checked and you say it's a murder case and they're investigating it and they get your DNA and they find you a murderer, that data becomes government data. But even that data, for you to access it, anyone to access it and use it, even for the criminal, must be authorized. Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you know, my worry with having people we are in competition with, when you say that we are competing, I'll use an example of a hospital, hospital A, hospital B. Now, government analytical laboratory is a lab and other laboratories are labs. So now, when you tell me that it is this laboratory that is supposed to ask to give authorization, you're subjecting me wrongly. At least take me to court to say somebody will seek permission to seek my data from court, not that laboratory. Hey, at least.
Eji.
Right, Honorable Chair, when you say that the CID must go to court to go and get data of someone who is already in the database of
NIRA,
of NIRA, then we have a problem. So the issue here is that whoever gets access to this information
is
authorized.
authorized.
Must be authorized
Yes.
to get this. So we can do it
Yes.
by the Directorate and say,
Yes.
if I find my data in the wrong hands, you government, you're responsible.
that's
That's
a
I think what
breach.
we are saying here.
Yes.
That if I find my material, for example, our national ID, DNA now, our fingerprints and things are in government hands. The question we are saying, if I find my material in the wrong hands, government, you're liable. That's what we're saying. So we can say the Directorate should authorize, so government will become liable should they find the person's material in the wrong hands. I beg submission.
I put a question that clause 36 be amended as proposed. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 36 as amended.
I put a question that clause 36 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37.
I put a question that clause 37 stands part of the bill. Those in favor stand the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
Clause 1. New clause.
Right Honorable Chair, the insertion of a new clause. Insert a new clause immediately after 37 as follows. Saving provision. Any examination, analysis, report, certificate, opinion, or any other work undertaken or issued by the government analytical laboratory, which is undertaken or issued by the government analytical laboratory, which is prior to the commencement of this act shall remain valid and admissible for a legal and other purposes, as if the examination, analysis report, certificate, opinion, other work had been undertaken or issued under this act. Justification for this is to ensure that the documentation and the work conducted by the government analytical laboratory is not rendered invalid. I submit.
Minister?
I agree with this saving provision, Chair, so that we protect the integrity of the previous works of GAR before the formulation of this bill.
AG?
We have no objections. A good addition to the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I put a question that that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Clause 1.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 1, interpretation. Clause 1 is amended A, in the definition of the word forensic analysis by substituting for the word forensic analysis the words forensic and scientific analysis. B, by substituting for the word forensic analyst the following: forensic practitioner means a professional who uses scientific, technical, or any other scientific expertise to examine and analyze evidence in legal proceedings. C, by substituting the definition of forensic science the following: forensic science means the systematic application of scientific methods, techniques, and principles to the collection, preservation, investigation, analysis, preservation, and interpretation of evidence for the purposes of law enforcement or legal proceedings. Our justification, Right Honorable Chair and Honorable colleagues, is that the substitution of the word forensic analysis for the word scientific and forensic analysis is to provide consistency in the bill. 2, the substitution of the word forensic analyst with the word forensic practitioner is to provide for a broader term that encompasses the different categories of professionals who utilize forensic science. 3, substitution of the definition of forensic science is to broaden the scope of the definition. And in this, we have looked at medical and dental. No, I beg to submit.
Minister?
I concur, Right Honorable Chair.
AG?
And no objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
I put a question that clause 1 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule.
I put a question that the first schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Please have a seat.
Report of the Committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled the Forensic Analytical Services I beg to move, Honorable members, I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled the Forensic and Scientific Services Bill, has been be passed.
And has been considered and passed with amendments.
With amendments.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House adopts the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this August House. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Forensic and Scientific Services Bill be read for the third time and be passed.
I put a question that the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Bill 2025 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Forensic and Scientific Analytical Services Act 2026.
Title settled and the bill passed.
Motion.
You want to speak? Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I take the grand opportunity to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, the learned Attorney General and the Minister of Internal Affairs and the members of the Defense and Internal Affairs Committee and the whole House for having processed this very important bill, integral component in our criminal justice system as it touches the body of evidence. I thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I want to also thank you for your time, for your effort in having this very important bill passed. And with the attendant effect we think it will have on our justice system. I thank you.
Thank you so much, honorable members of Parliament, Attorney General, the whole front bench, and the committee members. I want to thank you, including Leader of Opposition on this side. Thank you for passing the bill.
Motion that the House resolves itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary expenditure schedule for the financial year 2025-2026.
Honorable members, following our earlier decision to authorize reallocation of Uganda shillings 22.002 billion from 1 vote 157, the National Forestry Authority, to vote 019. Minister of Water and Environment. We are duly bound to supply the budget that has been reallocated from the NFA to Minister of Water and Environment. And pursuant to Article 156(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, and Section 24 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, and Rule 160 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I will invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to move a motion for supply. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move a motion for the House to resolve itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary schedule number 4 for financial year 2025-2026. I beg to move, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Seconded by Honorable Bua, Omara, Professor, Honorable Guang, Honorable Kania, Honorable Donazio, Sise, Namuju, Honorable Luengo, Honorable Alanyo, Honorable Nekesa, Honorable Oshabi, Honorable Aisha, Honorable Izama, Honorable Mamae, and the whole side. Thank you. Would you allow to speak to it?
Madam Speaker, briefly following the approval of the Forestry Plant and Tree Planting Amendment Act 2025 under RAPEX, there is need for the budgetary allocation for the National Forestry Authority totaling to 22.002 billion to the Ministry of Water and Environment. Right Honorable Speaker, to effect this, we are required to pass a supplementary budget in order to increase the vote under Ministry of Water and Environment, and we propose to disaggregate it as follows. Under recurrent, we propose an expenditure of 11,707,685,848, and under development, we propose to move 10,294,324,328 shillings. Madam Speaker, the source of financing this supplementary is the reallocated funds from the rationalized institution, National Forestry Authority. I beg to move. Maybe for emphasis, I can also quote the votes. The source of funding is movement of funds from vote 157, National Forestry Authority, amounting to 22.002 billion, to vote 019, Ministry of Water and Environment, amounting to 22.002 billion, out of which 11.707 billion is recurrent and 10.294 billion is development. I submit.
Thank you.
For your consideration, Right Honorable
Thank
Speaker.
you, honorable members. This is what we had approved before. It is just a debit and credit. We are creating one side and debiting the other vote. I put a question that the House resolves itself into a committee of supply to consider the supplementary expenditure schedule for financial year 2025-2026. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Committee of Supply.
Please sit.
Supplementary recurrent expenditure.
I put a question that the sum of Uganda shillings 11 billion 707 million 685,848 be approved as a supplementary recurrent expenditure for vote 019, Minister of Water and Environment, for financial year 2025-2026. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Supplementary development expenditure.
I put a question that a sum of Uganda shillings 10,294,324,328 be approved as a supplementary development expenditure for vote 019, Minister of Water and Environment, for the financial year 2025-2026. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Total supplementary expenditure.
I put a question that the total sum of Uganda shillings 22 billion 2 million 10,176 be approved as a total supplementary expenditure for vote 019, Minister of Water and Environment, for financial year 2025-2026. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Chair, I beg to move a motion that the House do resume and the Committee of Supply reports thereto.
I put a question that the Committee of Supply, that the House resumes and the Committee of Supply reports thereto. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the Committee of Supply.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of Supply has considered the supplementary schedule number 4 of financial year 2025-2026 amounting to 22.002 billion and passed it without amendments.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of Supply.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the report from the Committee of Supply be adopted.
I put a question that the House adopts the report of Committee of Supply. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Thank you so much, honorable members, for the day. Honorable members, the members of the NRM party. I am looking at the members of the NRM party have have been invited for a retreat from 7th to 14th by the mighty chairman of the party, who is none other than His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And I want to invite the members to come to travel to Chankwansi. Transport will be availed, and the opposition members can remain and have fun. We are adjourning the House to 15th. April. We are adjourning the House to 15th April. Chairpersons of committees must report on 15th April. And I want you in Chankwansi. House adjourned.